Hey there everyone, been quite a while, but it's time again for another iPod app review. Yes, it's been quite a long time, I understand, and you'll notice I'm still doing the recording myself, but let's just say schedules are tough, and I didn't want not having a camera person to get in the way, so I'm going to start doing them solo. I think I've figured out a good setup, and plus there's been so many apps that have come out since the last time I reviewed, but I also have an iPad now, but it would be a bit disingenuous of me to all of a sudden come out with an iPad app review when I didn't get the little sucker that, well, quite frankly, started me app reviewing in the first place, the iPod. I want you guys to know I still have as much passion for this little sucker, new case and all, as I always have. So, iPod app review it is. Now, speaking of the iPad, there has been an app that anytime you get a new iPad, if you ask most people, what's the app to get? Well, they'll name a couple of options, a couple of proprietary Apple things and stuff like that. But one thing whenever it comes to news that seems to be on everyone's lips is the app Flipboard. Now, for the longest time, Flipboard did not work on an iPod and not an iPhone either. None of the handheld iOS devices worked. It only worked on an iPad. Well, they have changed that recently and brought it to the smaller form factor. The question is, does it work on this smaller form factor? Does it still have the same charm that everyone loved about Flipboard? There's only one way to find out on this iPod app review. Okay, as I said during the intro, I am going to take a look at Flipboard, just recently ported to the iPod. Now, it will have a lot of looks that are quite familiar to anyone that uses the iPad app. Flipboard has always had this interesting look to it. You can also port in your Facebook and Twitter, as you can see I have, to where it will actually show all of these little things that come from your Facebook and Twitter thing, but change them into a sort of magazine format. Kind of flip like this, to where you get all of these little things from your various things. I think it's done quite a good job for anyone that does happen to know the app. On the iPad, it's still got the same setup as before of the sort of, well, Flipboard, if you will, sort of interface where you flip and flip and flip, and it will actually give you all of the different posts. But yes, still keeps them in a nice little usable feed like this. Oh, there was something from The Next Iron Chef from the Twitter thing. That was a good one last night. Anyway, this is how I'm easily occupied. Okay. So, not only does it cover your Facebook and Twitter, but, as usual, you can even put your Google Reader in there, which is something that I don't get much use out of. I actually have another app that I use that when I get into iPad app reviews, I will give you the app that I use. I may do that next time, actually. But, like I said, I'm focusing on this for now. So it will have a couple of sources on it. Already put news, tech, lifestyle, and you can customize it to where you can give your own feeds and everything. But it's got a lot of trusted sources, like it shows Pete Cashmore, Forbes.com, Tech News, TechCrunch. Trust them if you want or not. That's completely up to your decision. But it does have a lot of tech news stories on here that could help out with you if you don't specifically have a large group of feeds that you follow like I happen to. It's got lifestyle ones. Even the Flipboard staff picks a couple of stories that they happen to like themselves, like tech company war propaganda posters from Laughing Squid, or something from National Geographic. Ooh, I may have to get that photo later. That's National Geographic for you. They always get some good photography. You guys know I'm a photo nut. So they've always got these neat little lists, but also if you go into more, like This Week News, Business, Tech and Science, If you go specifically into tech and science, it will then give you a bunch of specific sources you can add to your Flipboard, like TechCrunch, Make Magazine. Like if you want things specifically from these different sources. And they've even got different things like apps, for instance, which you might be interested in that considering you're watching this right now. Apps, science, Apple News, all sorts of different things that are both compiled by the people at Flipboard and just sources that are in Flipboard. And that's not just with tech and science. You can go to all sorts of things like photos and design, curators, video, entertainment, sports, local travel. You got about everything in here that you could think of when you would think of the word news, and you can completely customize the interface as you want. So all in all, especially for someone that has used Flipboard, it may not be my favorite app on the iPad to use for news, but that's because I have so many feeds I follow that it's better for me to have something that actually integrates my Google Reader. This is still something I use every now and then on my iPad, and I will probably be using a bit on my iPod as well now. So, for those of you that have never had experience with Flipboard but have an iPod Touch, now's your chance. This is Flipboard. Hope you guys liked the review. Hopefully I've still got my game after all this time, but that's beside the point. If not, I'll get the flare back. Promise. Now, as usual, you can follow all the feeds, friendfeed.com/labtech7. And I've actually got a new thing to plug. If you go to Crosswalk, that's CROSS WA.LK. It's one of those addresses. Either way, I will put the link below here somewhere so you guys can find it. But it's a new social website for iOS users that specifically taps into your iTunes to let people know what you downloaded recently. I've got quite an interesting gathering of apps, and that may even give you some clues as to what things I'm going to. Just follow me. I'm LiveTech7 as usual anywhere else. So, until next time when we have yet another app, see you guys, and I promise I won't take several months next time.